are still working on problem 2.11, and in this we are still under part B, but we are doing the second part of this where we have already created our dummies, and we now have our two different fuel types of either diesel or petrol, because I got rid of the CNG to basically eliminate any, or hopefully avoid redundancy in our model. So what we're going to do now is we are actually going to create our partitions. And what these partitions do is they will help us develop our model, test our data, and validate our data. So to do that, we are going to go into Excel Miner, and we are going to go in, not the first partition because this is for time, it's got the little clock on it. So we're going to go into the second step here, and we're going to go ahead and pick standard. And then what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and click all of our variables, because we want everything to come over. And then we are going to leave our set seed, that way we have the same, basically the same testing for all of our training sets. And then we are going to specify percentages, and we want to go ahead and do our training at 50%, our validation set at 30%, and our testing set at 20%. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And when we do that, what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and it's going to create our sets. So what we're going to look at here is our various different sets. So we're going to have in our training set 718 rows. In our validation set, we are going to have 431 rows. And in our test set, we're going to have 287 rows. So basically what this did is the system just went through very quickly of our 1,463 rows, and it is now, 1,436 rows, and it determined what it needed based on those percentages to make up our random sampling for our different data sets. So what do each of these partitions do? Well, your training data set is used to train and build your models. So, like, for example, down the road, if we were to be using linear regression, we would need the training data set to fit the linear regression model, which means that we need this to help us figure out our regression coefficients. The validation data set is used to assess the accuracy of the model. So basically, once we build our model using the training set, we then use the data set from the validation, which was not used in our training set, so it's fresh new data, and we test the model on that data, and we try to compare our actual value with our predicted value of the response variable, because in our validation data, we actually know what our response variable is. And then we may find that we might need to tweak our model, or maybe we might even have to choose between multiple models that fit. And then our last data set is our test data set. And this is, once again, data that has not been used in either the validation set or in the training set. And it is used to test the model that the validation set selected is having the minimum errors. And it basically gives a realistic estimate of the performance of that model. And then once we have that, then we know that we can use that model for all new data going forward.